Hi everyone. My name is McLean. I'm a master's student for the University of Manoa, but I'm currently based in University of Hilo. I'll be talking about my project about social vulnerability and climate hazard effects on the islands. Our project's name is the Community Census and Spatial Visualization Index. So going through. So essentially what we did was we created a web-based geospatial tool that included social vulnerability indicator. So things like the different types of communities among the island and uh, kind of how they are susceptible to different types of hazards. And we joined it with climate hazards, so things like flooding, sea level rise, storm surge, and landslides. Um, so what our project is mainly for, we're trying to figure out kind of the impact of different types of hazards to different types of um, social communities among the islands. So, where in the state would need support for certain hazards, what parts of the communities are most at risk, and uh, different types of people who would be able to plan for specific hazards that may affect them more than others. So all of our data was primarily split between these two. Our hazards and any sorts of points of interest came from the Hawaii statewide GIS portal. So this is just a bunch of open shapefiles. So again, our hazards, things like flood hazards and sea level rising. It's also included some point data. So our points of interest included locations of first responders, and some uh, structural infrastructure like bridges and schools. And the remaining of our data came from the Census Bureau. So this is our social vulnerability indicator. So things from the census included like tenure, internet providers, genders, age, kind of broken up into different block groups. So kind of our overall data processing. Most of it was kind of split between Python and QGIS. QGIS is the Quantum Geographic Information System. Uh, Essentially, what we were doing is with the data, we would need to process it a little bit. So we would take it from their sources, throw it into either a setup Python script or into QGIS for the hazards. And we would simplify them down a bit. So we would take out unnecessary columns that didn't really apply to the data, or we would simplify the actual files. So getting rid of some of the unnecessary data points that make the files a lot more clunky than they need to be. We also had started to use OSGeo4W, which is just a software to help process geotiffs because geotiffs are significantly larger and much more difficult to handle in QGIS. So the geotiffs, we would just adding in some ways that we can make them load a bit faster and process a little bit easier on our software on our program. Just as a kind of very quick look over of kind of our processing through QGIS, since it was our main system. Uh, it's just simply breaking it down. Left side, you can kind of see all of our layers that we were processing and going through. And if you can look at the top right of the bounding screen that has the islands, you can see we kind of just simplified it by distance. We set different types of tolerance depending on how uh, many points we want to try and remove. And they're always map-based units. There are some other different types to simplify it, but uh, these were used mainly so that we wouldn't lose any sort of precision on the actual shapes of the islands and keep everything kind of all within its own bounds without changing much of the actual shape files or any other type of files that we were using. So for anyone who's new, um, this is kind of the first look of it. People who are returning, we made a lot of changes since the last time had presented this. So, uh, big major changes. The layout has changed. Um, the control panel is now at the top, and everything is kind of split up. A little bit easier to view. The table view and maps are still sharing the bottom part of the screen. Um, the table view is based for the social vulnerability indicators, so you'll be able to view the different types of maps and uh, data through there. You can also download the data and process it and view different types of analysis through it. Um, we also have a ability to view 4 different maps at a time, so you can create your own uh, viewing system by overlapping different types of data. So you can take one map and throw in a bunch of uh, social vulnerabilities and some points of interest, and on another map you can add some hazards and other vulnerability indicators, and kind of map and compare different types of data through against the other types. Um, just as another view, we have also kind of changed things up a little bit. You can kind of alter how the maps are viewed, kind of having it side by side. Um, kind of varies on how you want to view it. Also, it kind of changes how you can take snapshots. Each map you can individually take a screenshot of. Uh, you can see there's that little camera button above each one. There is also an overall snapshot view where you can take a picture of all 4 maps. Um, if you want to be able to share your findings in some way like that. There is also the ability to say if this is the uh, look you want to share with someone, you can also take the URL and actually send that URL to another person, and they'll be able to view exactly what you see. Um, so this one is just kind of a little bit different shape. It only has a couple maps showing. Um, you see, we kind of if you look at the raster dropdown, you can select the different maps, so you can turn on and off the different visualization maps and layers based on each map. Um, yeah, okay, skip that one. This is pretty much all the data we have right now. Um, I am not showing all of the vulnerability indicators because there are a lot of them and they take up a lot of room. But this is the overall look of all of our hazard data. Kind of an overview of everything available at this time, and kind of a little bit closer look at the data table. There is filtering capabilities. As you filter things, that does also affect what you download. So if you want to look at very specific types of data, you can filter it down, uh, and then you can download whatever you filtered out. For the data table, you're also able to select a specific point, and it will zoom in on that point on whichever map is currently active for the table. Um, but yeah, that is our overall look of our visualization. So there is a lot coming to this project still. There's a lot more data sets to become. Uh, we have a lot of data sets actually currently in the work that we are being added now, including adding a API connection to the HCDP, which is the Hawaii Climate Data Portal, to add in kind of more rainfall and humidity and temperature, kind of that kind of data. We are also in the process of integrating in a scalable data set. This has been created, but we're still working on actually getting it implemented in. Right now, everything is all being fast loaded in by JSON file. um, mainly to make it much easier for us to work through all the data, and not take a long time to have to constantly update the database. Along with the database is going to be coming a AI-based querying system. They're kind of going to be working together, and there are a lot of improvements to the UI and interactions that are also in the works right now. Everything's kind of being processed and loaded in together. So yes, thank you for listening, and I want to thank the team, our social scientists, our development team, and our GIS specialists. And I also do want to thank our additional undergraduate students who have helped the last couple semesters and joined in. So thank you. And yes, are there any questions I can answer?